welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is Cat Adoptions 2.0. I'm Monica Frendon. I'm the cat program manager at APA. So I am responsible for all of our cat programs. And in a broader scale, I look at it like I'm responsible for keeping Austin no-kill for cats. So every day we get a euthanasia list from the city of Austin, and it's my job to figure out how we're going to get those cats, get them rescued, and get them into homes. So here's a little bit about where we were last year. We adopted 3,090 cats in 2014. That was our best year ever. We did that with a 6% return rate. The gold standard return rate is under 10%. So if your return rate is under 10%, you can all give yourselves a pat on the back. If it's over that, we want to kind of reevaluate our adoption policies, practices, and see how we can make some improvements. So I'm not telling you that we have a 6% return rate to pat ourselves on the back. I'm mentioning it because keeping in mind the cats that Austin Pets Alive pulls, those who are on the euthanasia list for significant behavior or medical reasons, are pretty challenging cats that we're intaking already, and we're still managing to get an astonishingly low return rate. So we're going to talk about some ways that we do that, and some of those things can be a little controversial to people. So I'm asking you to keep an open mind. As that little bit of skepticism creeps up, keep in mind that we're doing it with a really hard population of cats to adopt, and we're doing it with an excellent return rate. So we're adopting almost 3,100 cats a year with all the staff you see listed up in here. It's not really that many. We have an army of volunteers, of course, and I recommend that you all invest in an army of volunteers. The thing I want to talk about with staff particularly, and this is good for volunteers and staff, even if you don't have any paid staff, hire amazing people and let them go, turn them loose. You cannot get to thousands of cats adopted annually if you're micromanaging every staff member and overseeing every single cat adoption. We have an amazing cat team. I'm super proud of them. We hire great people who are there, who are committed, and I empower them every day to make good decisions. So that comes down from the top down at APA, from Dr. Jefferson and down. Every single staff member is empowered every day to make the decisions necessary to save lives. So it's not my job, is not an option for us at APA, because if it's about saving an animal's life, it is our job, and we're empowered to make those decisions to make it happen. So if you want to take your numbers from a couple hundred cats to a couple thousand, realize that you're going to need awesome staff, awesome volunteers to make that happen. Find those people and turn them loose. Okay, so how do we increase our numbers? We're going to talk about all of these things. And I'm sure you'd all like if I had a magic bullet solution. You just need to do this one thing and the cats will fly out the doors. Unfortunately, we need to work all the steps. First one we're going to talk about is managing your population. So even if you're in a rescue group, you don't have a shelter facility, you're probably at PetSmart or Petco locations, you still need to worry about managing your populations, even if you don't have a shelter facility. If you're going to PetSmart and you've got 4 spaces for cats, we probably don't want to put 4 brown and white tabby kittens there, or 4 black cats. I'm sure that they're all lovely cats and will get adopted, but what if someone comes in and they want a little orange cat? What if I want a calico? What if I want a senior cat? So all of my different off-site locations, we have 8 different catteries throughout Austin in our main shelter facility. All of them have to have a managed population. We want anybody who walks into PetSmart that's looking for young, senior, lazy, playful, we want to have the cat for them. Available, here it is, it's ready, we're making it convenient for you. So manage your populations no matter if you're in a small rescue or a large shelter. This is a little bit about how we manage a population. So we have thousands of cats in the system at any given time. All of these programs are APA programs at the top who are saying, Monica, we have cats that are ready to be adopted. They need to go. And it's my job to say, where are they going to go? Am I going to put them into my shelter, the main cattery? Are they going to go to PetSmart? Are they going to go to Petco? Where are these cats going to go? And I'm using a lot of data management tools to figure out that decision. So at each of our off-site catteries, every day the counselor who is there sends an EOD email, end-of-day email, and it'll say, I've moved 2 cats today, 2 cats got adopted, so I have room for 2 cats, and I've already got 6 black cats. If you could maybe send me a couple orangies, that'd be great. So I will look at those emails and go, oh, Kristen at the Balcones PetSmart needs 2 orange cats. I know I have 2 orange cats up here that are requesting to come in. Let's send them over there. So you be smart about managing your population so that you have a cat of everyone's dreams available to them conveniently at the site that they happen to be at. This is a really easy way to manage your populations, whether you've got 20 or 2,000 cats in-house. This is just a Google form that we've set up. Everyone who has a cat from our foster homes and up who would like it to come into the cattery now, it's adoption ready, whether it's a bottle baby that has graduated and is old enough to come in now, or it's a foster who's got an adult cat that was off on a 2 to 4 week foster break for some behavior work. When the cat is ready, they sign the cat up on the adoption center request form, and they tell me the cat's name, whether it's FIV or leukemia negative, any special needs it might have, and from there I can match that up to my available space in all of my catteries. So I can look at this and go, oh, 2 orange cats are up here. Kristen at Balcones PetSmart said she needs 2 orange cats. Off you guys go. This is a really easy, free way to manage your populations. So if you're talking about large numbers of cats especially, you've got to make sure that all the cats coming into your adoption centers, whether it's PetSmart, Petco, or your shelter, are healthy and are not going to be infecting everybody. So this is our cattery clearance form. Every single cat, before she comes into the adoption center, any adoption center, has got to have this completed form. This is something our vet clinic does. It's done on a walk-in basis, Monday through Friday. And they will bring their kitty in, they'll present the kitty to the vet tech, and they'll run through this list. So I'm checking to make sure we're totally current on all of our vaccines. We're spayed and neutered, we're combo test negative. We've been Woods Lamp for ringworm. We are 100% adoption ready and healthy, and we're not going to present a disease infection problem going to a cattery. So super important to keep something like that in mind if you're going to be looking towards managing a large population of cats. So we are fortunate enough that we have the main shelter facility, but then we also have 8 little off-site facilities. Most of those are in PetSmarts and Petcos. We've got a Pet Supplies Plus, and then we've also got our Terrytown cattery, which I hope some of you got to visit on the tours. Why do we need all those even though we have a big main shelter facility? A huge percent of our cat adoptions comes from PetSmarts and Petcos, even though we have a shelter facility that people can visit every day. You're going to get a huge audience who's not going to go to a shelter. It's depressing. I don't want to go in an animal shelter. I will just never go there. But I can go to a PetSmart. That's not as emotionally confronting to a lot of people. You're also getting people who are already at PetSmart shopping for cat supplies. What an audience. It's great additional housing space. So when we back up in the springtime with 3,000 bottle baby kittens that are now graduating into 8 weeks old, where am I going to go with an additional 1,000 cats? We can house 84 cats at our offsites today, in addition to our shelter facility. That's a huge number of cats that I can safely take, save from euthanasia, whatever I need to do, and move them offsite. And you're getting tons of exposure. So our offsites are set way up to the north in Austin, way down in the south, east and west. So if somebody doesn't want to come down all the way to Austin, to South Austin where our main shelter is, no problem, pop on up to wherever you live that's convenient for you. So offsites are a really important way to get your numbers up, even if you have a shelter facility. If you don't have a shelter facility, look into getting your cats into every single pet store that you can. If you don't even have PetSmart or Petcos, look into options like our Terrytown cattery. The Terrytown strip mall was nothing but an empty strip mall. The stores were sitting there vacant for years. I'm sure you've all got vacant storefronts in your town. Whoever's managing those storefronts would probably like a tax break for you guys to go in there, set up a mobile adoption center. So the next thing we're going to talk about is marketing. I cannot overemphasize cat marketing enough, and I hope you got to take Ashley's marketing seminar to talk about this a little bit more in depth. So we do cat promotions almost 52 weeks a year. I make jokes that we're kind of like Kohl's, where nothing is ever the actual full price. We do great themes, great flyers. Lots of social media. We post them on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, everywhere we can possibly think of. If we can get them into the traditional media, whether that's the news, radio, or newspapers, we do all of that. I put this flyer up because this one was pretty controversial when we did it, and we did that deliberately. So Black Magic, 50% off black dogs and cats. Ooh, we did it around Halloween. So this is something that got a couple people on Facebook who were immediately, oh no, I once heard, the black cat Halloween myth, and caused a little bit of a ruckus on Facebook with 1 or 2 people. Thankfully, the 2 people who were concerned about that were quickly ambushed by about 1,000 people who said, nope, that's actually not true, that's a myth. This is a great theme and flyer, and I'm sharing this because it's so awesome and because I want to prove you guys wrong that these myths don't exist. So this flyer in particular got seen by about 70,000 people by the time it got shared around just on Facebook. So keep in mind ways that you can kind of push the boundaries a little bit and get people's attention. These are a couple other ones that we did. We're at a point now where myself and the marketing team are almost deliberately coming up with the most obnoxious things we can come up with. The more silly you are, the more obnoxious in a fun way, the more attention you're going to get. We've all seen the promo flyers that are, oh, come save a kitty. We put a couple cute hearts on a flyer that we made in Word. Who's sharing that on Facebook? You've got about 1 second online to get somebody's attention. It's got to be something that's hilarious, that's somehow newsworthy. People looked at this and went, oh my God, I don't even want a cat, but I'm sharing this. This is hilarious. And it's just silly, you know. It was just an excuse. It was Groundhog's Day. It wasn't even a major holiday. We just wanted an excuse to get people talking, to get them knowing that APA is there, that we have cats on special. The fat cat one was great too. So we had people actually come in and weigh their cats they wanted to adopt. And the cat's weight was your adoption fee. People loved it. They were all excited to put their cat on the scale. Oh, I'm paying $6.15. It was great. People loved that we called out, you know, fat cats. Who doesn't love a fat cat? Everybody does. So one of the things that we're doing this year, the more shareable it is, the better. And it doesn't matter what crazy scheme you come up with, as long as it gets people attention and gets them talking. And even if it's a little controversial, like the black cats on Halloween, get people talking, they'll get sharing. The black cat promotion, I think we sent an additional 40 cats home that weekend over our normal adoption numbers just from that black cat promo. So we do a ton of events at APA. And these are something that you can do whether you're a small rescue group or you have a shelter facility. We do little pop-up events at all of our stores. We do them at sometimes bars, whatever public space you have available, whatever business that wants to have you guys out, we do public events 1 to 4 times a month. Every single holiday or special occasion, we are out there pawning our cats. These are a couple events we've done for Ringworm last year. And again, we're pushing the boundaries, coming up with the most ridiculous thing we can do. Because especially with ringworm cats, we've really got to work extra hard to get people interested in adopting them, to come on out and see these cats with ringworm. So we came up with Lord of the Ringworm. I think we adopted 18 cats that day, ringworm kitties. We've done hairless Potter. I think we did 8 or 9 cats, ringworm cats. And again, these both got an incredible amount of shares. People thought that was hilarious. Hairless Potter, or ha ha ha. I'll share it even though I'm not interested in adopting a cat today. Look what these guys at APA did today. This is hilarious. I'm going to totally share this. A couple others that we've done. Ringworm in the New Year. Our main shelter facility is on Cesar Chavez Street, so we had Miracle on Cesar Chavez for Christmas this year. Just something kind of iconic and clever and weird. Of course, this is Austin, so we are all about the weird. You need to make sure that you're visible if you're going to increase your adoption numbers. And what that means is people cannot come adopt from you if they don't know you exist. If they don't know your shelter's there, they can't very well come get cats from you. So I'm sure everybody in here has rescued some cats that are really newsworthy. Broken leg cat, hit by car, cat was shot, some kind of really weird cat. We've all had those, I'm sure, regularly. Did you all do a press release every time you've taken in one of those cats? If not, we should have. Okay? News editors love nothing more, if you took Steve's FELV presentation, than put in feel-good fluff pieces about pets. If you don't know how to write a press release, Google press release template. It'll walk you right through it. Email that right to your newspaper editors every single time you have a special cat that you need to get out in the news. And then be part of your community. Go out to local events. Go out to your farmers markets. Go out to where people are working, living, and playing. Let them know that you're there. Tell them about the good work that you're doing. We've just rescued these awesome cats. We were involved in this hoarding case. Here's what we did. Here's what we need. We need funds. We need foster homes. How can you help? People need to know that you're there to help you. If you have a shelter facility, you need to make really sure you put it in a really accessible place. Shelter facilities that are off the beaten path in rural areas or out in the middle of nowhere are cheap for a reason. You've got to be somewhere where people live, work, and play. Our location where we're at right now is pretty much ideal, and we're very, very lucky to have it. But we are right in the heart of our community, and that's where we need to be to place special animals. People need to see us. We have to be at the forefront of their minds all the time, and you should too. So you need to have some good hours. How many people have municipal animal control shelters that are open from like 12 to 2 every other day of the week? No one's going there. I'm at work. How can I go adopt a cat if I'm at work during the hours that you're open? What do you mean you're not open on weekends? Those are my days off. You've got to be open when people can get to you. It seems common sense, but it seems we sometimes lack that in animal welfare. You've got to be open. These are our hours. Our offsite catteries are open until 8 p.m. during the week. That typically gives most people enough time to come after work. We're open every single weekend. Those are our busiest days. I'm sure they're your busiest days too, wherever you are. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about progressive adoption policies. And every time I do these presentations, I get a little bit of people who are skeptical about some of the things that we do at APA or that our progressive partners do. Same-day adoptions make people nervous for some reason still. So that means that you've come in to adopt a kitty today, we've processed your application, everything looks great. It means we're sending that cat home with you right now. We do that because we're working from a euthanasia list every day. The sooner you take that cat home, the sooner I can fill up that cage with an animal who's otherwise going to be euthanized. What we found, again, 6% return rate. Those cats are not coming back. It's not any more unsafe to send a cat home the same day than to make someone wait overnight and inconvenience them and say, okay, well, you look like a perfect adopter. This looks like a great match. Just come back tomorrow. Why? Why inconvenience people like that? So we do indoor-outdoor for our cats unless it's inappropriate. It makes a lot of people nervous sometimes. They want to have them strictly inside. I'm not arguing that that's less safe. It's certainly safer to keep your kitty inside. There are definitely dangers to being an outdoor kitty. There are also dangers to being a strictly indoor kitty in terms of their emotional health. Not all cats are going to be able to do that. Not all people want a cat that's strictly going to be indoors. If we look at any of the folks that have come to us from Europe or other parts of the country, it is cruel to keep a cat strictly indoors. So we have to kind of be open-minded on what's best for every single cat and what's best for every adopter. Obviously, we're not going to send kittens, feline leukemia cats, blind cats, you know. Kitties who need to be inside should be inside, but that's not every kitty and it's not every adopter. Renters are A-okay, and this is a problem more with dogs than cats, but there's a lot of rescues who do not adopt through renters. Not sure why that is. Surely they move a little bit more, but you know, people are definitely able and willing to take their cats with them. So our FIV cats, we don't treat them as special. They don't have special needs, they just have FIV. They live in group rooms at our shelters. They're not quarantined by other FIV cats. They get to live with whoever they want if they're not biters. We've never had a single case of transmission between cat to cat. There's a lot of studies on the books right now that there's absolutely no reason for us to be quarantining FIV cats in a shelter or otherwise. So you can adopt an FIV positive cat even if you have a negative cat at home. They also get to go outside if they want. They're not biting. We know we've neutered them, so there's no reason for us to keep them under constant restrictions. So we have lots of open, honest conversations with our adopters too. You're going to get people from time to time, there's an obstacle, and you kind of tend to skirt around it because no one likes conflict. The biggest one that I can think of is, say you get a senior citizen in and she wants to adopt a tiny kitten. Well, you know that's not a good match in your heart. How do you go forward making that match and keeping your adopter happy? So I encourage all my counselors just to be honest with folks. Have that open communication, because you're also going to be surprised by what you hear a lot of the time. What looks bad on paper, if you have a conversation with somebody, there's maybe a better way to go forward. It may not be as bad as you think it is. So our seniors who want to adopt kittens, and it happens all the time, and I'm sure you guys see it too, you know, hey, I noticed that, you know, you're interested in adopting this little kitten. Are you prepared for the kind of kitten antics that this little toddler in a cat suit is going to have? Yes, I am. I just really want a kitten. Okay, so what kind of contingency plan do you have in place in the unlikely event that this kitten may outlive you? You know, very few people want to address that. Oh, I don't want to say that to the little, you're not, the lady's not, she's well aware that she's, you know, senior. You know, this is not, she's not a surprise to her that she's not 20 years old anymore. So it's important that we just have honest conversations with folks. Don't be afraid to tell people, hey, I'm a little concerned. I noticed you lost your last cat. It got hit by a car. How did that happen? And how can we prevent that from happening with this cat? Don't automatically write people off. And of course, we're doing sales and reduced fees all the time. All the time. The number one reason that people purchase animals as opposed to adopting from shelters is because the number of hoops that they have to jump through to get an animal from a rescue is sometimes really excessive. We're also competing with those retail establishments for cats and dogs. I can go to Craigslist right now and get all the free cats I want. I can go to a breeder, buy a cat. I won't have to fill out any forms or do any hoop jumping. Those are the people that we're competing with. And so even though our inventory is furry and cute and alive, we have to think of our inventory like a retail store does. The same way Macy's has a sale when they have merchandise they need to move, we need to have sales and marketing campaigns when we have merchandise that we need to move. You've got to think of it as a business. We're very much a business, we just don't pay taxes. So we don't do wait periods, we don't do home checks. We completely debunk adoption myths deliberately to get some rise out of the community and to get some talking going on. And this is an important one, like we talked about. We have adoption policies in place, I'm sure you all do. They can't be blanket policies because we're dealing with an inventory that is very unique and individual. Every cat is an individual. Every adopter is an individual. We need to take the time to look at them both as individuals, figure out what's best for them before we just make a blanket ruling. Customer service. So how does this increase adoptions? We get feedback all the time. I got a wonderful email last week from an adopter who said, I just wanted to write to you guys and say how different my experience was coming into APA than it was another shelter here in Austin. I didn't have to fill out any forms before I came in and was allowed to touch and hold a cat. At the other shelter, I had to fill out 6 pages of forms before I was even allowed in a room to see a cat. They were scowling at me. They told me unless I was a serious adopter, to stop wasting their time. This isn't a petting zoo. That does not fly on our model of sheltering. So you walk into our cattery. I hope that when you visited yesterday, you were greeted with, hi, welcome, come on in. Come see our magnificent cats. Please sanitize your hands, and you're welcome to go pet anybody you want. No personal judgment means that if you're an adopter and we're declining on your adoption for some reason, and this is really hard to do, it's important not to make people feel like they're being judged. And that's really, really tricky, but it's something you need to do if you're going to win over your community. And you're going to have good customer service if you're going to win over your community. Those people who've left and who feel like they've been treated poorly are going to tell everyone and their brother, and they're going to write Yelp reviews about you and leave nasty comments on Facebook. And you have got to have the community support if you're going to achieve no kill in your community. It is 100% up to the community to empower you guys to make that happen, and you've got to have their support. And you have to treat them well if you're going to have their support. So every single team member on your team, whether it's a small team or a big team, needs to be united in your goal. Your goal is no kill for your cats. Your goal is 100 adoptions this month. Whatever your goal is, every single person on your team needs to understand that, and that is their goal. And it trickles down into everything. So if I were to get an email today and it said, I'm looking for a 2 to 6-year-old cat, needs to be good with dogs and kids, who can you recommend I come see? I don't know all the 3,000 cats in my program personally. I can't, but my counselors do. And so I will send an email blast and say, hey guys, here I have an adopter looking for a 2 to 6-year-old cat, good with cats and dogs. Who do you got? And they will all write back immediately. Come see Fluffy up at my location. No, come see Ben over at mine. Everybody has to be committed to this fact, that you're committed to achieving no kill in your community. You're committed to achieving X number of adoptions this month. You've got to depend on your team members again. Absolutely no one on my staff is there for a paycheck. Every single person on my team is there to save lives. And that's the way I want it, and that's the way they want it. They can depend on one another. We're all going to be there for the same goal. And this is something my mentor told me years and years ago that I try and keep in the back of my head. Some days it's harder than others. Treat every single person who walks in your door as a potential adopter, donor, or volunteer. You have no idea until they speak and you know that person, what they're there for. They very well could be there to adopt, to donate, to volunteer. We're in the middle of downtown Austin. We get some characters into the CATTERY for sure. Some of those characters have turned out to be legendary musicians who are there to adopt. They write a great big check. You don't know how someone is when they just walk in. You can't judge them by appearance. You can't assume that they're there to be nasty. You know, treat every single person you come across like they could be the next big change for you. So in order to compete with these retail establishments that are selling cats and competing with Craigslist, who are giving cats away for free, we need to make it really, really easy for people to adopt. Especially for APA, the population of cats that we have are typically medically and behaviorally challenged because they're coming off the euthanasia list. The only normal cats we have are graduates from our bottle baby program. Everyone else has had some reason that they landed on the euthanasia list. We have to work extra hard to get our adoptions. In order to do that, we're making it a really fun, awesome experience for people to come adopt. I want them to walk in the door, feel welcomed. I want them to feel like they have saved a life, like they are the hero. This is the best thing that's ever happened to them when they came to adopt from us. So yeah, please come on in, touch and hold the cats. You're just visiting today, that's fine. You can still come in and touch and hold the cats. How many people have been at an adoption event and you walk past and you ask, oh, tell me a little bit about this kitten, can I hold it? And you're told no. Are you here to adopt? Well, no, I'm just visiting. Well, then you don't need to hold the cat. How am I supposed to fall in love with and hold the cat, you know, how am I supposed to fall in love with a kitty if you won't even let me touch it or hold it or spend time with it? I may very well not be here to adopt today. Maybe I was just browsing, but I've just seen this cat and oh my God, I can't live without it. You're never gonna have those aha adoptions if you don't let people bond with cats. You're never gonna get somebody that's like, oh, I can't touch and hold that cat, but I'm gonna write you a $1,000 check. No. Let people come touch and hold your cats. Sure, tell them to sanitize first if you want, but let them come in, let them fall in love. Let them fall in love with the cat, and let them fall in love with the work you're doing. We set people up for success as much as possible when we do an adoption. So you need a declawed cat, you're afraid it's gonna scratch. Well, do you know how to trim toenails? Nope. Well, I've got a pair of toenail clippers and a cat right here. We're gonna learn. We show people. We adopt out cats that have minor illness all the time. That might be an obstacle to some people. Oh, I don't know how to give medication. You can still take that cat home today because I am going to send you home with the medication and show you how to give it. And of course, if you took our cat behavior team presentation, you know that we offer lifetime free support from our cat behavior team. So if you run into a problem down the road, we're there to help you. We're going to help you work through it no matter, however we have to. This is the biggest mind shift change that animal rescue workers can make nowadays. We have got to stop demonizing the public. We have to stop assuming that it's all these irresponsible, awful people out there in the world who are just letting pets breed rampantly and they're awful and I'm going to screen them into oblivion because none of them are good enough to take home any of my cats. They're all awful, all these people in the community. The community is what's going to save you guys. I know there's some irresponsible people, trust me, I know, that are letting their cats breed rampantly and doing terrible things. There are about this much of the population, though. Statistics don't lie. The rest of your chunk of the population are good people who want to do the right thing. We have to make it easy for them. Stop demonizing them and ask them for support. So our adoption application, I trim it down almost annually. I want to get rid of all those questions that are just too long. Why do we need to know some of these things? Stick to the short, most condensed version you can that asks the most important questions that you need. I've seen a lot of adoption applications that go on and on for 5 or 6 pages. Do we really need all of that data? Can't I just ask you the important questions? Our adoption application is 1 page front and back, but we still get people that come in, oh my God, it's 2 pages. So I'm continually looking at how I can trim it, but still ask the important questions. Matching your adopters to their ideal cat. So this is something that you all want to do is matchmaking. The biggest concern that we've had in the past year was single kittenitis. I'm sure you all know how single kittens do when they're adopted very young into homes with no other kittens. So we had a rash of people, and we'd have a rash of people every spring who come in and they want an 8-week-old single kitten. We know it's not going to end well for anyone. We wanted to have an open, honest conversation with people, but we wanted to do it in a friendly and fun way. So how can we have this honest conversation with people without running them off, without making it seem like we're pushing kittens or we're judging them or we're being too persnickety? So we came up with some fun flyers and a single kitten waiver. So anybody who wants to adopt a single kitten, hey, no problem. So I just want you to be aware that this is how single kittens behave. Here are the behaviors that you're going to see. I guarantee it. This will happen to you. And if you still want to go through with this, that's fine. We'll do it. We'll do the adoption. I just need you to initial down here that you're okay with all this. So this was a really good way for us to say, I really need to educate you as an adopter, but I don't want to seem like I'm being pushy and judgmental and awful to you. So that's fine. You still want a single kitten catzilla at your house that's going to bite your children? Okay. We can do that. We can make that happen for you. Just go ahead and give us an initial down here that you've read and you're aware that these are going to happen. It is significantly cut down on our single kittens. We've got a great big poster up that we put up in the spring, too, that talks about this. So there are fun ways that you can educate your adopters. There are fun ways that you can match make. This is one of them that we came up with. Oh, the tricky bits. So progressive adoption policies do not equal low-quality homes or a high return rate. We do decline lots of adoptions. Unfortunately, not all of them. We come from a place of yes. So you come in, you put in an application, we assume it's a yes until your application proves otherwise. Always come from a place of yes. Don't come from a place of no, of you're not getting my cat unless you prove to me you're so fantastic. Try coming from a place of yes. Why couldn't you have this cat? Show me. So if you're going to declaw your kitty and we can't educate you out of it, that's a hard denial for us. You're absolutely not going to get to declaw one of our kitties. However, I will show you all of our declawed kitties that are available already. If you live outside of the Austin area, we do require manager approval now because we had so many cats who were moving away to Chicago and Toronto and all sorts of places, and then they would get surrendered and we'd have to pay thousands of dollars to fly them home. So that is something to think about. Do you have the resources to get your cats back if you need to, if they were to move 1,000 miles away? And then, of course, if you've got more than 6 cats at home and you want to adopt another, that's something that we want a manager to know about so we can vet that a little further. Make sure that you don't have 60 cats at home or 600, or if you do have 7 or 8, there's a lot of people who can take care of 7 or 8 just fine. So we'll do our extra due diligence on that and make sure it's still a quality home. Derp. Adopting special needs kitties. So we've got a progressive adoption fee schedule. If your kitty has a special needs, your kitty sure as heck has a special price. We identify all of our long-stay cats. We consider a long-stay cat up to starting at 100 days. We track them all. So if you're having cats sit in your system for longer than you like, try coming up with a system where you track them all and figure out what is the barrier, why they're not getting adopted. This is our long-stay tracking spreadsheet. This lists all of our cats who've been with us for 100 days or more, where they are, and the biggest thing, why do we still have them? What is their adoption obstacle? So when I notice that we have lots of incontinent cats coming up on here, some diabetic cats, what do we need to do to start making those cats get adopted too? If you don't know what your obstacles are, you can't very well address them. We'll expect to see our leukemia cats for a little bit longer. Our hospice, our incontinent cats are our biggest long stays, and we've got plans in place to start moving all of them. This is our action plan for long-stay CATTERY cats. We talked a little bit about this in our cat behavior presentation. So this was presented mostly so that we could keep a watch of the mental health of our long-stay cats. I don't want a cat sitting in a cage for 60 or 90 days and just getting forgotten about and staying there forever. So we've come up with this at 60 and 90 days. It's not only going to keep the cat mentally well and not in a cage for her whole life, but it's also going to trigger our marketing team and other stuff to go, hey, we've got a cat sitting here for 90 days. We don't know why. Marketing team, please figure it out and make some action plans for these kitties. We've also got our Catzilla program. These are really naughty kitties. They've multiple times in bite quarantine, really special. So we started a Catzilla program because there are people out there who love bitey cats. There really are. There's not enough of those kind souls, but they do exist. We've got a Catzilla program. If you're a Catzilla and you're in our program, your adoption fee is 0. If you've been with us for 100 days, cat's 25% off. 200 days, 50% off. If you've been with us for 300 days, you're 75% off. All of our leukemia cats, incontinent cats, are $0 adoption fees. Anybody who's a medical consult, so they have a serious enough health problem where they have to meet with our veterinarian before you're allowed to adopt, immediate 50% off. And of course, our ringworm kitties are always 50% off year-round. So if a cat has a special needs, it has a special price that triggers extra attention from the community. Our ringworm kitties. One of the things that we do at APA, and this is really fun for us, is we really try hard to remove the stigma from ringworm. We put the fun in fungus. Ringworm is basically like an athlete's foot for cats, you know, and we'll tell it to people like that. Hey, these cats are going to be euthanized because they basically have athlete's foot. Isn't that ridiculous? That's crazy. We do fun adoption events for them all the time, the bald and the beautiful. Of course, their fees are 50% off. We're also sending, if you adopt a ringworm kitty, we're also sending home the medication and dip with you today. So here's what they would need to require to finish their treatment. Here it is for you, free of charge, is included with your adoption fee. For our fosters, we have them come in on dip days, Tuesdays and Fridays are lime dipping days. So extra way to get fosters, hey, you don't even have to dip in your home. Come on in on Tuesdays and Fridays, we'll dip the cats for you, and you take them home. And we used to do that for adopters, we don't anymore, but we do send them home with the dip and the medication. You're gonna have lots of cats who don't do well in shelters. You've got to figure out ways to get them adopted from home. We encourage our fosters to be as silly as we are and market these guys on social media to their heart's content. We've got cats on Reddit any given day of the week. Every one of our long-stay cats, their foster has made them a Facebook page by now and is out promoting them. Help your fosters move their cats. Have photo days where you have a photographer come in and dress their kitties up and take beautiful photos of them. Come up with little themes and prizes. Hey, get your cat adopted this week. We've got a $25 gift card in it for you. So encourage your fosters to go out and make those connections and move their kitties themselves. So Steve did a much better job of talking about feline leukemia cats than I will, but here's a little bit about how we get them adopted. We know that these cats are unfortunately not going to live 15 to 20 years. There's a lot of people who want a cat but don't have a 15 to 20 year commitment to make to you. We market the FELVs to those cats. So college kids, maybe you're in the military and you move a lot. Maybe you just don't know where you're going to be in 20 years, but you really like a cat right now. It's great for a leukemia cat. You can't commit to 20 years. Can you commit to 2 to 3? Those are a good audience to tap into. Everybody who comes into the cattery who's saying, oh, I just want one cat. I don't have any other cats at home. I just want one. Our first thought, you need a leukemia cat. Let me take you to the sanctuary to meet the most amazing cats in the world. Always try and think FELV first. Of course, we provide the medical coverage and end-of-life services for those cats, as Steve and Dr. Barzinski were talking about. So if you've got a feline leukemia illness, our clinic will treat that for free for you. We'll also provide end-of-life services when it's time for free. 50% of the leukemia cats that we adopted last year at APA were adopted out of foster. So what that tells me is that those people did not come into our shelter and just fall in love with the first cat that they saw. They specifically looked for those cats. They had to find them on our website and then go to a foster home to meet them and then come back to the shelter to do the adoption. They were specifically searching for a leukemia cat. So I hope that you got to take Steve's presentation where he talked a lot about debunking the myth that those cats are unwanted, because at least 53 of them last year were extremely wanted here in the Austin area. These are the good reasons why you should not be adopting out FIV cats right now. Who's not doing FIV adoptions? Anyone? Awesome. Last year we had a bucket of hands. That's great. I'm a sucker for FIV cats. I love nothing more than an FIV big melon-headed tom. So there are tons of studies now that these cats live the same exact lifespan. There's no statistical difference between a positive cat and a negative cat. They can live with other cats as long as they're not biting. You're surely neutering them, so they're not mating at their new home. There's no good reason why we should treat these cats like lepers and not let the community adopt them. We are, of course, going to educate people. We're not just going to lie and say, nope, cat doesn't have FIV, or who cares. We give them a little handout. Here's the truth about FIV, and we encourage people, hey, I know sometimes this is scary. I know there's a lot of vets out there who are still anti-FIV, especially in your rural areas. Go home and Google the truth about FIV. If you're not comfortable and don't want to push you into it, and surely they come back the next day and go, yeah, I Googled it, you're right. There's absolutely nothing to be concerned about. So we don't treat these cats like they're special. We don't consider FIV to be a special need, and that's how we adopt them out. We have no problem taking FIV cats. We don't have a limit. We don't decline on them for any reason. They just come in, they go into group population like every other cat. That's how we treat them, so that's how the community looks at them. And I'm going to leave with that last comment that I wish there was a magic bullet that you could just do, and all the cats would get adopted within 24 hours. But it is working all of the steps every single day, day in and day out. That helps you get from 100 cats to 1,000 to 2,000 to 3 and 4.